lesson learned. So thanks. So I am recording this session, so I just wanted to let you all know that up front. I appreciate you attending today's session. It is our third in a series titled Healthy Selfishness. Today, sports performance at Old Dominion University. And I would be remiss if I also did not mention that he is the husband of Ashley Potter, former colleague and friend and math teacher at Moyac Middle School. Thank you for muting your microphones. You guys are getting great at this. At the end of Eric's presentation, he's going to have an opportunity. He's going to open up the floor for an opportunity for questions. I am going to control the chat box, but if you all want to go ahead and say hello so that we can get you on record for your participation today, that would be wonderful. Again, I'm so excited to have Eric here. And Eric, welcome, and I'm going to give you the floor.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me?
We sure can.
All right, well, first off, like she said, I want to thank all you guys for showing up today. Hopefully, from today's healthy selfishness conversation, you guys can take something and apply it to your daily life. I want to thank Christy for having me. Obviously, that's, super nice and appreciated. And like she said, my wife, I want to obviously give her some props. She sees how crazy I am on a daily basis with some of my tactics to stay healthy. I think she thought this would be of value to her peers. And so, I appreciate her doing that. Before I get started, I want to give a kind of rundown of, my background. Like Christy had mentioned, I played baseball at University of Maryland for 4 years. During that time, I really got interested in everything dealing with fitness. So the lifting, conditioning, nutrition, sleep, mental health, all of those things that were going to help improve performance and, improve my lifestyle. From there, I graduated. I played 2 years of professional baseball in the Oakland Athletics minor league organization. At some point, I realized that I wasn't going to be a Major League Baseball player, so I had to, give those dreams up and, start my career. I've been in the fitness performance industry for almost a decade now. My first couple of years, I worked in the personal training and group setting, and I worked, the normal working adult, trying to get them in shape, trying to, instill healthy habits. And for the past 8 years, I've been working at Old Dominion, and I've been working with all of the sports at ODU. My current role is Director of Sports Performance, and in that role, I'm in charge of basically all the sports, lifting, conditioning, other than football. My main sport priority is men's basketball. So I travel with the team. I'm at practice every day. I do all the lifting, conditioning. So I'm basically with that team on a, daily basis. I think a lot of times when people hear of strength coach or someone in fitness or exercise, can be kind of intimidating. They think of some guy or girl yelling at them, shouting demands, all sorts of crazy stuff. And I think that's a very minor part of my responsibility in my job. A lot of times in today's world, I spend working on nutrition, habits, sleep, a lot of things I'm going to talk about today to you guys. So that's kind of, my background. And, I work especially with athletes now, but those same principles can apply to you guys. So let's get this thing rolling. All right, can we all see that? Christy, can we see that?
You're good. You're good.
Okay. All right, so we're going to get rolling. Okay, so again, I think this is a pretty cool concept that's been put together of healthy selfishness. At the end of the day, we always have to take care of ourselves. That's the most important thing. So what I'm going to be talking about today is sleep, activity, and food. So 3 pretty basic things we all know are important. We know the science behind why these things are important. Obviously, the more we sleep, the better we're going to feel, the more recovered, the more active we are, probably the more in shape we're going to be, and the better food choices we make, that's going to, obviously positively impact our health in a positive way. Okay. But today I'm going to talk about some strategies to accomplish this. Okay. So the first slide I'm going to present is probably the most important one of the whole presentation. So make sure we're paying attention. Okay, I'm going to go through it. We're going to spend about a minute, and we're just going to read the whole thing, and then I'll move on from there. All right. Okay. So hopefully you guys got a little laugh out of that. But this is kind of one of the things that I'm really going to be talking about today. So obviously with this pandemic coronavirus, okay, it's a crazy thing that's throwing a wrench into everyone's lives. I know firsthand, obviously I work in, the college setting. Now I've taught a class this last semester, so I had to go all virtual. With all the programs for all my athletes, I have to do them all virtually. I know obviously my wife, working in public education, she's dealing on a day-to-day basis throughout the day, talking to students, talking to teachers, talking to her peers, talking to administration, throughout the day, early, late. And it's just a crazy time. And so I think the biggest thing is trying to create good strategies, good habits, good tactics on how to approach taking care of yourself. And a lot of times this stuff is hard. You're dealing with your job, you're dealing with your boss, you're dealing with your husband or wife, you're dealing with your kids, family members, money. There's a lot of other things that are very important in your life that sometimes take precedence over taking care of yourself. So I'm going to, again, hopefully give some strategies on how we can take care of ourselves a little better and make it a priority. And again, these are 3 different topics, and hopefully that we can take one strategy or one tactic from each of those things. So 3 things from this, conversation and apply it on a daily basis. All right. So when we look at health, optimal health, okay, sleep, food, activity, health drives performance. Okay. So, and a lot of people think performance, they think of, a professional athlete training their butt off, training every day, eating all this good food, to achieve a perfect performance, or, certain musicians practicing 12, 14 hours a day, to become the best musician they can. But for every working adult, performance is basically how we perform on a daily basis. And so that's our work, how we do our work. That's with our family. How are we, present with our spouses, with our kids? How are we achieving our hobbies? And so when you look at performance, health drives optimal performance. And so some factors of health, your energy, your focus, whether you get sick or not, how often you get sick, your mood, your memory, your body image, all of those things are driven by the things I'm going to talk about today, which are sleep, regular activity, and then food. We want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to be in a good position from a health perspective. All right, sleep. Okay, everyone knows sleep is important. We've seen the studies that show, less sleep has a better chance for increased risk of, cancer and heart disease and Alzheimer's and all sorts of crazy stuff. So we all know sleep is a very positive thing. It makes us feel more refreshed, more recovered. But everyone has a little different, relationship with sleep. I know me personally, my most productive hours of the day are probably 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. And my wife can attest to that. My wife is the complete opposite. She's ready in the morning at 6 a.m. She's ready to roll. And then at 9:30, she wants to go to bed. And everyone's a little different. So one of the big takeaways from this presentation, hopefully, is that everyone is different, but you have to find something that works for you. So where should you sleep? Obviously, in a comfortable bed, in a cool, dark room. The purpose of sleep is to relax, to recover, So we should try to do that by getting as many comfortable things in the bed: blankets, pillows, soft bed, and then also cool and a dark room. Obviously, the less distractions you have when you're sleeping, so light from outside, light from lamps, the better we're going to sleep. And, when do you want to sleep? Same time every night. Your body craves consistency. Okay? So you'd like to fall asleep at the same time. And again, everyone might be a little different, but you should try to achieve that same time of sleep every night. So if you go to bed at 9 one night, 12 the next night, 11, 8, your body is not going to fully like that or understand that. So try to have a consistent bedtime. And the goal is 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Some people, work better with a little less than that. Some people need their 10 hours, but 7 to 9 is kind of what the research has shown to be the optimal hours of sleep per night. Sleep tips. Yes, there's a lot of research recently. Obviously, our world is a technology-filled place at this point. Social media, TVs, laptops, our phones, we're checking things until the wee hours of the night. I'm sure all of us, I do it all the time too. You get on your phone, you're checking Instagram or Twitter, and all of a sudden, an hour's gone by, and you're all amped up and you can't go to sleep. So one of the biggest things is trying to reduce the blue light. So blue light is a type of light that comes off of most of the electronics that we use. So we'd like to reduce this as early as possible before we go to bed. Some tactics we could use. There's a option on iPhones called night shift, which basically reduces the blue light. Computers have similar things, TVs have similar things, so something to reduce that blue light. But blue light's a pretty big thing. It stimulates your brain, stimulates your eyelids, and make it harder to go to bed. Calm your brain and body. Again, everyone is different. Some people like to read. Some people gratitude journal, meditation, stretching, recap the day. So you had a pretty successful day. Before you can go to bed, you have to recap what you did during that day. Or for me personally, planning for the next day has a lot of value. I know at 8 a.m. I have this meeting, 10 a.m. I have this meeting. I have to call this person this time. That gives me some peace before I go to bed, so I know what I have to accomplish the next day, and I can get to bed. Food, obviously, the closer we eat to bed, your digestive system is basically going full go. So a lot of the research has shown we should try to eat as far away from our bedtime as possible. So again, if you really need a snack, and which we'll talk about this a little later, try to eat that even a little further away from when you're trying to go to bed. And then tracking your sleep. Tracking your sleep has a lot of value. There's a lot of apps out there. There's journal. There's different technology pieces you can get. You can get watches. You can get rings that can track your sleep, tell you how you slept, how long you were in the REM, and it gives you, good data to kind of see where you're at sleep-wise. So all those things, together have a lot of value. But again, we're trying to just maybe take one or two of these things and apply it to your sleep to help us sleep a little better and have a little more energy the next day and feel more refreshed. Christy, is there any questions up to this point?
No, I think people are admitting their guilt right now, including myself, about looking at our phone before our bed. While you're still on sleep, I have a question. Sure. Is napping ever a good idea?
Yes, naps can have value. A lot of the research has shown that, and I know this is kind of funny, and my wife always laughs at this too, but a nap should be between about 20 minutes and an hour. If you're going into a full gone, like 2 or 3 hour nap, that's almost detrimental. And so it should be a short nap. Can definitely have value, 100%.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks.
So physical activity. So I use the word physical activity. I do not like the word exercise. Exercise has a negative connotation in my eyes. It has a very, it makes it seem like people are doing something they don't want to do. That, to me, that's what exercise signifies. So when I'm talking about our body moving, our body staying active, I think training, the word training has a lot of value. So you're training for a certain goal. I want to run a marathon. So my physical activity is I'm training. I'm trying to be a bodybuilder. I'm trying to, stay achieve a certain goal, 100 push-ups. I'm training to get to that goal. And then physical activity, I think, is a really good word to you, or 2 words to use, as you're just staying active. You're moving constantly. You're moving throughout the day. You're not just, sitting on the couch. So I think physical activity is what we should be shooting for. Trying to stay as active as possible, especially in this time we're in right now, which it can be hard. So where should you be active? And a lot of people laugh when I say this and they don't believe me, but wherever you actually are staying active is where you should do it. I think a lot of times people get caught up in, I have to go to the gym. I have to do this class. I have to wait for this person. Where at the end of the day, wherever you do it is the most important thing. Whatever, if you're going to do it in your corner of your couch or corner of your closet, great. If you're going to walk for 5 miles a day, great. Wherever you're going to do it, is the most important thing. When are you going to do it? Again, whenever you're actually going to be consistent with it. A lot of times, some people love getting up in the morning and getting their workout, and I'm not one of those people. Like, that sounds terrible to me. I would never want to get up at 6 a.m. and do a workout. That sounds like torture. So I want to be, fully awake, and then I try to just figure out a time throughout the day where I can do something. Normally the early afternoon is the best for me, just based upon my schedule. But sometimes I don't do something throughout the day, and it'll be 9 p.m. and I want to get a little workout in because I didn't get something through the day. So again, whenever fits in your schedule that you're going to do it. And, don't get too caught up on, I have to plan this out perfectly. Sometimes you just got to do it and, get that activity in, and then you'll feel a lot better after. And it's hard. And that's why I say whenever, especially, we're dealing with a crazy 3.5-year-old, almost 4-year-old, and she's a maniac. And I have, I plan my workouts for certain days, and it just doesn't happen because, we're going on a walk for, we're reading for, a meeting comes up. And so sometimes you just got to make it happen throughout the day. Maybe you haven't planned for it, but just kind of figure it out. And the goal is 30 minutes of some activity every day. And I'll get to it in the next slide, but this doesn't mean it has to be crazy, CrossFit workouts every day. This is just, a consistent 30 minutes where you're moving. And we'll talk about some of the next slide. So I think one thing that should be, barring, it's not snowing or doing what it's doing right now outside where it's raining sideways, but we should get a walk every day. It could be 15 minutes, could be 20 minutes, could be 30 minutes. Get 1 or 2 walks a day. Get some fresh air, get out of the house, especially now. I know we're all going stir crazy being cooped up in these houses. So get out of the house, maybe drive to a park, drive somewhere where it's, obviously you're still practicing, all the proper etiquette, social distancing, but take a walk. Get outside, get some fresh air, take a walk with your spouse, by yourself, get some alone time with your kid. I think that's one of the things that everyone should do every day, as long as, the weather's cooperating. And then on other activities, I think start small. 5 minutes of different activities. And again, different people prefer different types of activity. I know personally, me, I like resistance training. I like lifting weights. Obviously part of that is, my job consists a lot of that, but I feel good when doing that. Some people really enjoy sports. If you were a former athlete, you want to play pickup hoops with your friends, or you want to play, racquetball. Sports are a great way to stay active. And so, if you have a basketball hoop, 30 minutes of shooting hoops is great. And then, some people have cardio equipment or elliptical or a bike at home. And again, those are great. If that's what you're going to do, awesome. If you're going to get 20, 30, 40 minutes in and you love the bike, perfect, great. I think the biggest thing is being consistent and doing something every day. Yoga, Pilates are always great. Martial arts, I've never really got into it, but, some people love it. And so you kind of pick what, appeals the most to you and something that you're going to be consistent with. Some tips: add squats, push-ups, planks when you're cooking, during a meeting, during commercials, when you're cleaning. It'd be great right now if I can't see anyone anyway, so maybe do 10 squats, 10 push-ups, a minute plank. And I think especially in today's world where a lot of people are, virtual, we're Zooming, we're Meets, Google Meets, a lot of times your video is not even on. So it'd be great. You're listening to something, hopefully learning something, and get some push-ups in. You're cooking dinner, get some squats in. And I think this is an easy way to just do something active, throughout the day without really even planning it. You have some free time, you realize that, do some push-ups. Stand at your desk to work. At this point, if you have a higher, bookcase or something and you're in the middle of doing some work, maybe instead of sitting down, you stand up and do your work. And I think that, those are just a couple tips. But I think the biggest thing is doing something consistently every day. And the answer is whatever you're going to do is the best thing for you to do. I know a lot of times people say, oh, CrossFit is the best thing. Oh, yoga is the best thing. Everything can be awesome if you do it. And so everything has value, but we just got to make sure, we're consistent and we enjoy doing it. One of the biggest things that I, in my field, really don't like is making it feel like, they have to do this. It's torture to do this. No, it should be enjoyable. Pick something that's somewhat enjoyable to you, and stay active doing that. Here are just a couple of stretches that I took pictures of, and these are some of my favorite stretches. And these are a great way to get some stretching, some mobility, and also relax at the same time. I'll do these a lot of times before I go to bed. My wife thinks I'm kind of crazy, but you feel great after doing these. You get some stretching in, so stretching is definitely neglected, and you feel relaxed and you feel great after doing them. So this is another way to just get some activities in, and you're just laying there. You're literally just laying there, but you're actually, instead of just sitting on the couch, you're getting a stretch in. So these are just some of my favorite ones to do, and you can hold these for as long as you want. Hold them for a minute, hold them for 5 minutes, breathe, relax. It's just something, out of the normal to stay active. So here's some other resources to help with consistency. Obviously, the fitness industry, we all hear the funny joke, New Year's Day, the gyms get really busy, and then a month later, everyone stops going to the gym. And a lot of times it's because people, it's hard to stay consistent. Life happens, kids happen, money happens, all these things happen that take us away from, taking care of ourselves. So here's some resources to help with, being accountable and being more consistent. One, join a peer group to hold yourself and friends accountable via text and calls. I've seen this one work pretty well in a couple of cases where a couple individuals, weren't getting the results they wanted and they weren't being consistent. So they called 5 or 6 of their friends and they joined, a text group, and every day they got on their FaceTime and said, hey, this is Eric. I'm doing 100 push-ups right now. Do their push-ups, send it. And so, their group members, their peer members would hold them accountable if they didn't do it. And so that's a good way, to make sure, that you're staying active. Training session with your spouse, kids, family members, friends. So again, this is, you're doing push-ups, you do 10 push-ups, they do 10 push-ups. You do 10 push-ups, they do 10 push-ups. If you have a kid, go for walks with your kid. If you have a kid who's somewhat young and not super heavy, carry them around the house, play tag with them. So I think those are, great ways for you to get active and also set good habits for your kids, but you're being more consistent. Tracking your daily activity. Obviously, we all know that tracking and journaling is super important and has a lot of value. So journaling would be great. What you did every day, and I have to get 5 to 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes every day. What did I do? Certain apps are out there. We've all heard of the Apple Watch or Fitbit that tracks your steps and can track a bunch of different stuff. So all of those have value in tracking, to make sure you're doing what you should be doing on a daily basis. And then use training on, there's so many resources out there now. Instagram, you can go on Instagram right now and type in like fitness, and I'm sure you could have a million different like daily workouts. Are they all great? Probably not, but doing something is always better than doing nothing. YouTube, obviously, they have full programs. There's a lot of apps out there, and you can get daily workouts. And then some examples that I've used in the past, yoga with Adriene. It's pretty good. A girl named Adriene. She does a great job, and she keeps it very simple. It's not like too like spiritual or crazy. You can do 10 minutes, you can do 30 minutes, you can do 20 minutes, and it's kind of. It's easy to follow. And then, one thing that my wife found recently was Cosmic Kids Yoga. And so basically, a yoga teacher, goes through whole, kids movies. So Frozen, Moana, Trolls, and she has a bunch of things that are catered to kids. So you're getting your yoga and your kids also doing it. So there's just a couple that, I've thought of, but there's so much stuff out there and that has a lot of value. All right. So this is probably the most argued thing in the world besides politics. Food. Okay. So food, I mean, you have so many smart people that disagree on complete different ends of the spectrum about what you should eat, when you should eat, why you should eat it. If you look online, what is the best diet? You'll see everything. Plant-based, vegan, paleo, Mediterranean, keto, carnivore, gluten-free, pescatarian, intermittent fasting, juicing, DASH, vegetarian. So my answer, what is the best diet, is going to be similar to the previous ones. Something that you can follow where you eat real food. I think that is the biggest thing to concentrate on. You want to eat real, nutrient-dense foods. Okay, so we know certain foods, if you have an orange that has tons of vitamin C, if you have, a banana that has tons of potassium, we want very basic foods that provide a lot of value, a lot of nutrients. If you're buying stuff at the grocery store and you look at the nutrition label, it should have as little little ingredients as possible, and you should be able to pronounce the ingredients. If there's a word that's like 700 words or letters, that's probably not the best thing for you. So you should be able to know what's in your food. Consume the rainbow, so lots of color. Obviously, the things that are full of color have more nutrients, vitamins, minerals. And so the goal should be to aim for 6 fruit and or vegetables daily. And so it could be 6 fruit, it could be 6 vegetables, or it could be a combination. And then in terms of vegetables, we all know, eat as many of those as possible. Choose foods that make you feel good. I know when I was in college, I took a lot of different supplements, protein powders, all this stuff. And I'd always have this feeling of like, oh, my stomach hurts. Like my body didn't digest that very well. And like, I didn't realize it until recently when obviously, doing more research and realizing different things that if your body is, if your stomach hurts after eating a food, your body is probably telling you that it doesn't like it. And so I think each person is different. And so you have to figure out what makes the most sense for you. And so some normal allergies that a lot of people have, and again, this isn't for everybody, but grains, a lot of times people's bodies don't digest them properly. Milk, different nuts, other people have different allergies to foods. So the big thing I'm going to say is when you eat food, make sure that you feel good after eating it. If you realize every time I eat pasta or bread, my stomach doesn't hurt, maybe that's something that we think about, cutting down on. Or if you drink milk and it doesn't sit well, maybe we find an alternative. And so that's something that, again, you personally, try to figure out what the best thing for you is. And again, choose organic, local if possible. Obviously, it depends on where you shop. There's obviously financial things that go into that. But we want to try to eat the best source foods that we can. Eat real food. Some examples of like the most nutrient dense foods. I mean, there's a lot of them. A lot of times they are colorful and full of, nutrients, but eggs are probably one of the best things. For years they were kind of vilified for having high cholesterol, and that was incorrect thinking. So I would say eggs are probably one of the best values for how much you pay for them and then the nutrients you get. So eggs are great. Hard-boiled eggs are a great thing to have for breakfast. Eat the whole egg. Avocados are great. Berries are great. Seeds, chia seeds, hemp seed, flaxseed, nuts. Most nuts are pretty good. Macadamia nuts, hazelnuts, pistachios, broccoli, cauliflower, amazing. Most vegetables are really good for you. Olive oil, salmon. And most of these foods are things people know are really good for them. But again, like eggs are great for you, and they're not that expensive. Frozen broccoli, is one of the best things you can have, to go with dinner or lunch, and you can get a bag of frozen broccoli for, $1. So those are things that, can still be somewhat affordable, and, they're really good for you. So cooking tips. Make cooking an event. Okay, so a lot of times the outlook on cooking is, I have to eat this. Oh, what do we have to eat? Oh, we're just going to make something. And, my tip is to try to flip that on its head and, make it an event. Like, I'm making this really good food, pair with this really good food. Or I'm going to go online and find a cool recipe. We haven't had this in a long time. So learn new recipes, try out new foods, make it an event. We're all making family dinner tonight. Obviously today, every day is like Groundhog Day. We do the same thing every day for the most part. So try to make an event, something you look forward to, just something that's, a really cool part of your day. Again, this goes with everything, food log, journal, especially if you're having trouble, you're feeling full, maybe, body composition isn't going the right direction, you want to lose weight, those things, could be really help with a food log or food journal to kind of see where you're at. Planning meals also has a lot of value. So you say on Monday we're eating this, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That can keep you on track, and it could help with, instead of eating snacks all day, I'm having dinner at this time. Or a lot of times, when we fall into the same thing, we don't have anything planned, and okay, we're just gonna go to Panda or something like that. And so the biggest thing is try to plan your meals the best you can, so you know what you're eating and when you're eating. And then, again, one of the most important things, eat good 80 to 85% of the time. Be human. What that means, if you love Five Guys burger and fries, eat it. But at the same time, try to eat good throughout the rest of the week. If you love, like I do, a Chick-fil-A milkshake, it's amazing. But still, try to eat good for the most part. And because if you're just trying to like starve yourself and you're not eating things that you enjoy eating, it's not going to be sustainable. So try to eat good a majority of the time, and then still, you love a Papa John's pizza, go eat a Papa John's pizza, but, eat good a majority of the time. All right, so bonus, okay? So just because this is something I think is pretty important, and sometimes can get neglected, especially, with us being home so much, is, get outside, daily sun. Sun has a lot of, valuable, things it does for your body. I would say aim for a lot of new research is coming out showing aim between 15 and 30 minutes of direct sunlight. Obviously, if we're going to the beach for 5 hours, we should put sunscreen on and, be smart about it. But the small dosage of the sun is really good for vitamin D, which is important for everything, good skin, and it's great for your mood and energy. So sun definitely has a lot of value. Obviously, if you're, again, going for extended periods of time, make sure putting sunscreen on. But definitely those short doses every day has a lot of value. And then wrapping up. Okay, so the biggest thing I hope we took out of this is make time for your health. Make time for yourself. Caring about your health is not selfish. So develop strategies that work specifically for you. Okay, everyone's going to be different. Some people want to go to bed early. Some people want to go to bed late. Some people want to want to lift for 40 minutes a day. Some people just like to go on walks. Okay, so find what fits for you. But the biggest thing is try to create better sleep habits, activity habits, and then also eating habits. And then love if you guys follow me on Twitter. My handle is BEliteDaily, and I post, a lot of nutrition stuff, a lot of like workout ideas or tips. So I'd love if you guys follow me. And if you guys, do any of these things, so maybe you get a new sleep hack or nutrition thing and tag me in it, that'd be awesome. I'd really appreciate that. And that is all I have for right now.
So if you have any questions, Eric is going to be able to see the chat. Eric, I'm going to selfishly, since I don't see a question, one of the things that I struggle with more so when I'm in the school environment than when I am at home is I hit a block every day around 3 o'clock. It's like my body just, I can tell it's not the great time of day for me. And then I don't have the ability right then to go out and exercise. But is that psychological, or what's my body telling me? I wonder if it is psychological because it's happening at the same time every day. What are your thoughts on that?
So you're saying you get like tired?
And just kind of it just it's the same feeling every day around that time.
Yeah, so I think I think that's pretty common, honestly, for a lot of people. And I think it could be a multitude of factors. I think one, it could be when you're eating breakfast, or how much you're eating for breakfast, or what you're eating for breakfast. It also could be, what you're eating for lunch and when you're eating lunch. And so a lot of times, there could be some what you're eating factors. So I don't know what you're eating, but a lot of times carbs, too much carbs at certain times can lead to fatigue later in the day. And then sometimes if you eat breakfast too early, that could also impact that. So I think the biggest thing would be messing around with maybe what and when you eat breakfast and lunch, and see if that helps.
Okay.
One of the things I would recommend for most people for breakfast, I know my wife is going to laugh at me, but it'd be a more higher fat, higher protein breakfast. So eggs, nuts, those type of things have a lot of value in terms of keeping your blood sugar pretty consistent and not allowing for as many crashes.
Okay. Well, thank you. That was gentle and kind. And Carrie, I'm glad to see that somebody else feels that way. But yeah, that makes sense. Any other questions that you have while we have Eric with us today? You're welcome to either put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself. So Nicole says, I was a runner in high school and I swore afterwards I'd never stop. And of course I did. I've recently bought running shoes. What are your tips for running besides trying to stay on grass or softer pavement if there aren't many hills around?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think a suggestion would be to vary up the type of running. So if you're doing maybe one day do a more aerobic day where you're keeping like a steady pace for a certain amount of time. One day do more intervals, so higher intensity jog, and then one day even do sprints. So switching up, so full sprint and then walk. I think doing that has a lot of value. I do think running on the grass, that's definitely a great point. Running on concrete can definitely crush your knees and hips and ankles. So I think running in grass definitely has a lot of value. But I would say that switching up the type of running you're doing on a daily basis.
And Nicole is appreciative of that. LaWanda suggests that we keep a resistance band and a 12-pound medicine ball like she does at her office. And she does drop and do planks and even a few resistant moves. LaWanda is a secretary at one of our elementary schools, and she's obviously got it going on. So I like that idea.
Yep, that's perfect. Yeah.
2 pounds.
That's awesome.
Okay. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Any other questions? Carrie says, what do you suggest for using weights as we get older?
Yeah, I think as you get older, you probably want to increase the total reps you do and decrease the weight you use. So like smaller dumbbells, smaller medicine balls, and do sets of 10, 12, 15 as opposed to going super heavy. Because a lot of times the heavy lifts of going sets of 1 or 3 or 5 can cause a lot of stress in your joints. But so going a little less total weight, but going more reps would definitely have a lot of value.
All righty. We'll wait about another minute, Eric, and see if anybody else has questions.
Okay.
I think people are appreciative. I know a lot of folks are probably excited to also think about ways to get through our Zoom or our Google Meets. Dawn Belangia says she appreciates you making this realistic and attainable, and I would agree. So it looks as if nobody else has any questions. So Eric, I thank you for saying yes and for giving us your time. I took some notes, and I'm going to try and do a few things. And I don't know if I'm going to take pictures and send them, but I will certainly let you know that I followed your suggestion. But I do thank you for your expertise and for putting this presentation together. It is most appreciative.
I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and hopefully we took something from it that we can apply.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I know we did. Thanks, Eric. Have a great afternoon.
Right.
Bye.
All right, you too.
Hey, Hodges.
Hi, Sam. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Let me stop recording this session.
Oh, yeah. Do that. Let me see the puppy, too.
Okay.